Welcome back to another Pokemon Throwback Thursday, where every Thursday morning we take a deep dive into a new set. We're going in complete order, and the set we're checking out today is Sun and Moon Black Star promo, so not really a set. And then, of course, we're going to be highlighting a certain Pokemon, and we're going to be checking out their best cards in Pokemon history. And for today's video, that is going to be Mimikyu. And we are going to do a giveaway today. All you got to do is make sure you subscribe. You got to hit that notification bell. You got to hit that like. Then you have to answer the question of the day. It's going to be a tough one. What Pokemon card is the best Shinji Kanda art? And in honor of that, we are giving away an Oricorio and a Magneton promo. So comment your answer down below to be entered into that giveaway. And we're also doing another giveaway on my last Market Monday for a Phantasmal Flames ETB and a Phantasmal Flames booster box on my Instagram. So definitely go check those out. Both winners will be called next Market Monday. And then we do have to give a big thanks to our video sponsor real quick, and that is Punch-Out Gaming. Punch-Out Gaming is my local game store, and it's the #1 game store in all of Minnesota. I've actually been in the mall. And they do have a super cool card show every other month. So definitely swing by if you guys are in the area. Then, of course, if you're going to grade through PSA, click my link in the description, and you can use the code BEARD25 and receive $25 off your very first submission, which is basically a free graded card. And if you guys did want to try out Tag, I now have a Tag affiliate link. Click my link in the description, use code BEARD10 and receive 10% off your very first submission. So definitely check all that out. All right, starting off, Sun and Moon Black Star promos, one of the best eras ever for promos, in my opinion. And total set value is only 7,560. You think it'd be a little bit higher? Because, I mean, that's pretty close to Ascended Heroes right now. But we're going to check out some of the cheaper cards, and of course, we're going to check out the big boy highlight cards. So there's going to be a ton of the pre-release stamped cards, you know, like the Kyogre here at $21. And, you know, a lot of GXs. We got some Shinings. We're going to check out a couple of the bigger Shinings later. We even got some Rainbow Rare GXs, you know, Detective Pikachu. Lots of really good arts and a ton of Pikachu cards. So if you guys are Pikachu fans, there is a ton of Sun and Moon Black Star promos that you guys would definitely have to collect. I mean, just right here, there's like 7 of them, which is kind of crazy. And we even have the Lunala and Solgaleo GX promos. These are solid gold cards. And honestly, $12, not a bad price at all. We got the Suicune Lost Thunder pre-release card. That should be like $1,000 because it's Suicune, and I'm not biased. All right, let's check out some of these higher end cards here. We got the Pikachu and Zekrom Gold Tag Team promo. This is a pop of 5,400 in a 10, 5,500 in a 9. Was that $300? Dropped down to $133. Now last sold $175, and you can pick this card up raw for around $25 to $35. Next, we have the same thing, but the Reshiram and Charizard. This card must not have been printed as well, or maybe not packaged as well because much tougher to grade. 2,000 in a 10, 5,300 in a 9. Was at $429, dropped down to $236, and now last sold $316. And raw, you can get this card for around $40. Next, we have the Ash's Pikachu little set here. If you guys did not know, it has all the different hats Ash has worn throughout the years, with, of course, the OG hat being the most expensive at $77 raw. The rest of them are around $30 to $35. But love these cards. Next, the Celebi and Venusaur Tag Team promo. This was at $520 in a PSA 10, dropped down to $304 and just up a little bit at $330. And it's about a $40 to about a $60 raw card, depending on condition, of course. And raw, it's definitely going to be over about $50 if you want this thing actually clean. And this has a pop of 2,700 in a 10, 3,600 in a 9. And this is actually one of my favorite tag teams. I actually think a lot of the Black Star promo tag teams beat pretty much any tag team you can actually pull from the actual set, especially this one. Next, we have the Claymation Venusaur and Snivy Tag Team promo. Pop of 1,800 in a 10, 1,500 in a 9. This card was at $550, dropped down to $225, and now last sold $275. And raw, looks like you can get it for $55 to about $80, of course, depending on condition. Next, the Charizard and Braixen GX Tag Team with a pop of 2,300 in a 10, 2,200 in a 9. Was at $600, dropped down to $329 and going crazy again. Now last sold $500 and $510. And raw, looks like it is about a $50 to $60 card. Next, we have the Shining Lugia. This card is very, very tough to grade. Only 822 in a 10 and 3,076 in a 9. Even 2,100 in a 8. But this card was at $1,900 in a PSA 10, dropped down to $1,100. And going up again right now, last sold $1,750 and $1,700. And you can get this card raw for, honestly, $75 if you want it really, really clean, which is not bad. Next, probably one of the cutest cards on the list. This is a Pikachu promo, but staring at Mimikyu, just look at that picture. And what's actually super cool about this card is where it comes from. It comes from a Team Up blister, which makes it just so much more rare because Team Up is so expensive. And it's very difficult to grade. 1800 in a 10, 4500 in a 9. This had sales at 1600, dropped down to like 800, and now last sold 1100. And raw, it's definitely going to be like 120 if you want it actually clean. They got a PSA 9 at 175 also. Next, we have the Rainbow Dragonite GX. Has a pop of 889 in a 10, 771 in a 9. Last sold raw 65, 67. We got a PSA 9 at 95. And PSA 10 did get to 400, dropped down to 225, and going up again right now, 599, and the sale before that was 316. Next, we have the Derpy Eevee. That's what people call it. Very difficult to grade. 285 in a 10, 1700 in a 9. I have like 40 of these. I should probably send them in eventually. This card was at $2,000, got up to about 2,700, and now last sold is at 2,200. And raw, looks like we got sales anywhere between like $60 to $100 if you want it really minty. Next, we have the Espeon and Deoxys GX Tag Team promo, but this is what I'm talking about. I think this card just destroys anything you can get in a set. This is a pop of 910 in a 10, 4,800 in a 9, 3,000 in an 8, so much tougher to grade. It really depends on where these cards come from. A lot of the tins, like the earlier promos we were looking at, much better condition. But when it's a big collection box like this, not very good. I mean, 910 is crazy low. And this card was at $1,000 in a PSA 10 and now last sold 1,917. And then for raw, we got sales from like $60 all the way up to about $140. Next, we have the Stained Glass Birds Tag Team promo. Now this card, there are so many of these because they printed that Hidden Fates ETB so many times. 37,994 10s, 22,501 9s. Crazy. This got up to $358, dropped down to $232. Now last sold back up to $300 and $290. And raw, this card is about $100, which this card used to be like $5 all day long. And yet again, another tag team promo that just destroys anything you can pull with the Umbreon and Darkrai with a pop of 1,000 in a 10, 5,800 in a 9. This comes in the exact same box as the Espeon and Deoxys. So it must be terrible packaging. This was at 2,800 in a 10, dropped down to 1,500, and now last sold, we got a sale at 2,750. Wow. And raw, we got sales all the way from $120 to $220 for near mint condition, and we got some PSA 9s at about $220 and $280. Next, the Mewtwo and Mew GX Tag Team promo, the best tag team card we've ever gotten. This has a pop of 8,700 in a 10, 5,600 in a 9 because this card comes in a 10. And last sold on eBay is $1,000. It was at $1,000 before and dropped all the way down to $620. So going back up, and raw, this card is not cheap now. $295, $240, $155, $225 for lightly played, and we got a PSA 9 at $350. Next, the Armored Mewtwo. This is a card that I talked about last year that I felt was just so undervalued. It's kind of at the same time the Mewtwo started to take off that this card just wasn't moving. It's only 297 10s and 1,791 9s, and the card doesn't have texture, but it has a really nice like Cosmo foil. I think it's sick. This was at 5,400 in a 10 6 months ago, dropped down to 3,800, and we got a sale right now at $6,000. We got a couple of them, and raw, we got sales all the way from $100 to $225. And let's actually check this all time, see how cheap this card was. As you can see, I mean, this card in August of 2024 was $700 in a PSA 10, and raw, it was literally like a $20, $30 card. So undervalued. And last on the list, one of the most expensive raw cards on this entire list, and that is the Charizard Team Up staff card. I think people are really sleeping on some of the newer staff cards, especially of the ones of very popular Pokemon. Staff stuff does really, really good. So we got a PSA 9 sale here at $675. We got a raw one here at $471. Another PSA 9 at $663. Bunch of PSA 9s. This card is very difficult to get in a PSA 10, obviously. But super cool art, actually, even though it's just, not a full art. But a lot going on with this card for sure. And we're going to just take a quick peek at some of the collection boxes and tins that the Sun and Moon era got, because they got so many good ones. It actually just blows anything we basically got from Sword and Shield and Sun and Moon out of the water. Of course, we got a few good boxes here and there, the Vaporeon Premium Collection, stuff like that, and some UPCs. But still, they just don't hit like some of these did. So these are the boxes I was talking about here, where it has the Espeon and the Umbreon. There's 2 different kinds with 2 different jumbos, but of course we know that was not packaged well. Another tag team box with Venusaur and Charizard as tag teams. Like, that's just wild. We got the Shining Legends Super Premium Collection with those Shinings in there and that Lugia. The tins, probably the best tins we've ever gotten. I mean, there's just so many awesome boxes and tins for this era. But all right, let's check out the Mimikyus here. So we're going to check out the cheaper ones, kind of appreciate some of these arts. The one from Phantasmal Flames is actually very, very nice, done by Miki Kudo. That one's pretty sick. We got the Trick or Trade one, which will probably end up doing pretty decent. It's an 18-cent card, but Mimikyu with the pumpkin Pikachu logo. I can see this card being a couple dollars in the future. And that is done by Himento. Probably butchered that name. And we got another one here, Trick or Trade 2022. I think some of those cards are pretty cool when they actually have a good Pokemon that go with it. Right here, we got 2024. This one actually has the Cosmos foil. That's a super sick card. Like the Lost Origin Mimikyu, looking at that Pikachu can. That's pretty adorable. And a Pikachu cameo. I know a lot of people collect Pikachus and all their cameos. That is definitely a Pikachu cameo. Looks like they got a reverse holo of that one also. So yeah, a lot of really cool, nice, just holo cards. And then of course we got our basic EXs and our basic Vs. You know, from Battle Styles and Brilliant Stars got reprinted twice of the same exact thing. Now we got our Journey Together stamp promo. I think it's pretty sick. And all right, getting to the good stuff. So of course we're going to go from newest to oldest like we always do. So here is the Black Star promo Mimikyu ETB promo. This card, around a $10 to $15 card. It sells for around $100 in a PSA 10. I don't know why Pokédata doesn't have the PSA 10 stuff here. Next, the actual Pokemon Center Black Star promo. This was at $477, dropped down to $202, and now that's sold $284. Another one at $280. And raw is about a $55 to $60 card now. Next, we have the Baby Shiny Mimikyu from Paldean Fates. This is a pop of $439 in a 10, $455 in a 9, was at $107 in a 10, and now last sold $160. And raw, it's around a $20 card. Next, we have the Team Rockets Mimikyu pre-release card. So the card I was talking about earlier, but it has the nice Destined Rival stamp on there. The Cosmos foil. We got a PSA 10 sale at $225. Raw, it's like a $15 card. We got a PSA 9 at $53. Now we have another one of those cards, but this is the staff version. Has a little staff stamp right down here. We got a couple raw sales at $100, which honestly isn't terrible. I feel like for a Mimikyu Destined Rivals staff promo. Next, we have the actual Team Rockets Mimikyu illustration from Ascended Heroes. Brand new card, so not a ton of PSA 10 sales. We got one PSA 10 sale at $305, and it's around a $20 to $30 card. Kind of on the move. Next, this is a Delta Species Mimikyu. People completely slept on this promo from the 25th. This was at $550, got down to $203, and now last sold right around $300. This is a pop of $1,900 in a 10, $3,400 in a 9, and $1,000 in an 8. Whenever we get a reprint or a new card of an old gimmick, like we used to have Delta Species back in the day, just know that card's probably going to do pretty decent in the future. And this is about a $10 raw card. Next, we have the Full Art Mimikyu V from Battle Styles with a pop of $467 in a 10, $240 in a 9. But this is what I'm talking about when people talk about low pops. Like people would say, you know, some newer people in the hobby would say, this is a low pop. There's only $467 in a 10. Now, yes, that's technically true, but the only reason there's only $467 in a 10 is because not a lot of people got the card graded because it wasn't super popular. So if it was very popular, it would have a super high grade because there's 249s and 467 10s, so it's easy to grade. But last sold in a 10, $150, which is not bad. And raw, right around $20. And we have the Mimikyu VMAX from Brilliant Stars. This is a pop of $947 in a 10, $360 in a 9. We got a PSA 10 sale at $65, and this is about a $5 to $8 card. Next, we have the actual Mimikyu V Trainer Gallery cards. These cards are amazing. I love how there's a little Gengar doll in this card that I feel like no one ever talks about. I love the little cameos like that. This is a pop of $5,000 in a 10, $3,200 in a 9. What was that, $400? And coming down right now, last sold $175. And raw, it's around a $55 card. And we have the Mimikyu VMAX Trainer Gallery. pretty much the same pop, and honestly much cheaper. This was at $287 in a 10, and now last sold $130, and you can find this card for like $30 to $45 raw. Next, we're getting into the Sun and Moon GX era. We got the full art Mimikyu GX from Lost Thunder. Pop of only 123 in a 10, 169 in a 9. Was at $350 in a 10, now last sold $710 and $1,000 before that. And raw, looks like it's about a $75 to $125 card. Next, we have the same card, but rainbow. 163 in a 10, 215 in a 9. Last sold in a 10, $1,275 and $1,150. And raw, 200, 150, 190, 225, and we got a PSA 9 at 275. Next, we have the Mimikyu Cosmic Eclipse Secret Rare, the first Trainer Gallery cards that we got. This is a pop of 1,045 in a 10, 2,082 in a 9. No texture, so it makes it much tougher to grade. Was at 442 in a 10, now that's sold $295. And raw, it's about a $40 to $50 card. And then we got the tag teams. So the big boys. We got the Gengar and Mimikyu GX tag team. This card is non-textured, and this card went crazy this year. If we go back to the 1 year, I mean, this was $400 in a PSA 10. Let's go all time. This card was $55 once in a PSA 10. Got all the way up to $1,433, down to $1,053. Now last sold $1,400. We got a PSA 9 at $350 and $325. This is a pop of $2,238 in a 10, $2,780 in a 9. I feel like this card is slightly overvalued in my opinion. Even though I do like this card more than the actual textured alternate art, I just feel like that's pretty expensive for how many there are in a PSA 10 and how it's not that difficult to grade. And then we got the full art tag team, Gengar and Mimikyu. This is a pop of $1,300 in a 10, $738 in a 9. Last sold in a 10 is $1,000. Dropped down to $845 in January. And raw, $140, $280, $250, $268, $350. And we got the rainbow. So same exact art, but the rainbow version with a pop of $862 in a 10, $851 in a 9. Last sold, raw, $150. We got a PSA 9 at $419. We got another raw at $325. We even have a raw at $569. Now, those are the people that are chasing that PSA 10. But even then, you're not even getting that much value, and it's pretty risky because the last sale in a PSA 10 is $975, and before that was $1275. And the big boy. See, the one thing I don't like about this card is how dark it is. I own this card, but the whole background, I mean, very, very difficult to see what's going on. This is a pop of $1,947 in a 10, $1,300 in a 9 for the big Gengar and Mimikyu tag team. This is one of the most expensive tag teams, too. This was at $4,500 in a 10, dropped down to $3,300. Now last sold $4,176 and $4,300. We even have one high sale here at $4,900. Raw, we got $1,520, $999. We even got a low $200 one. And we got one more English card, and it's a card we already checked earlier in the video. And if you guys are wondering why, Mimikyu just stops at Sun and Moon, Mimikyu is a very new Pokemon. I think Mimikyu is the most popular, newer Pokemon that we've gotten. It's a Generation 7 Pokemon, so not very old at all. But we got nothing from Generation 8 or Generation 9 that is even close to as popular as Mimikyu. But I guess if you make a creepy version of the most popular Pokemon, kind of a no-brainer. But here is that Team Up Blister Pikachu promo where he's staring at Mimikyu. Of course, we're not going to go through the prices again. We already did earlier in the video. But remember, very tough to grade. $1,800 in a 10, $4,500 in a 9. So one of the coolest cards out there. And last on the list, Japanese exclusive. One of the coolest ones too. This one actually has Jesse, James, and Meowth. We got the Team Rockets Mimikyu GX. This card is super sick. We've got a little rocket logo down there. Pop of $945 in a 10, $372 in a 9. Last sold raw, $79, $145, $137, $127. We got a PSA 10 at $517 and $550. One low one here at $480. Not too bad, especially getting, Jesse, James, and Meowth in there with Mimikyu. Japanese exclusive. It is just super sick. But all right, that was this week's Pokemon Throwback Thursday. If you guys like this content and want to stay ahead of the market, please make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave a like and comment. And if you guys did not know, I will be vending at the Choctaw Resort and Casino. I'm actually going to be on my way there as you guys are watching this on Thursday. It's going to be a Friday and Saturday show. They're doing a ton of giveaways. So if you guys want to come, buy some Pokemon cards, maybe go play some blackjack with me after, I am totally down. And then, of course, if you guys want to support more, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube membership, all that, you guys know what to do. You guys are the absolute best. But I want you guys to have a great day, and you guys got to watch my last Pokemon What If Wednesday. This was a crazy one. Click this video here. Otherwise, we'll see you next time.